only money to become a better man.
You stay in
Not
wonderland.
better than me.
You take the
I
red
will always
pill.
be better than everything.
Stay in
Only
wonderland.
money to become a
Take the
better
red
man.
pill.
But not
Stay
better
in
than. Fuck, I'm edging so hard my monitor is exploding.
5 minutes later.
There's a better way to live life than this.
Have you ever done something and then maybe halfway, or maybe you've done it a couple of times, you kind of stop yourself and just start to think like, this really isn't me. I don't know, this isn't me. Of course you have, because we've all been there. I would say a huge dilemma with that same problem with this modern age today is going to college. Because I remember, and a lot of people I've grown up with and have been told by figures I've grown up with as well, adults, parents, relatives, whatnot, since honestly, like the age of kindergarten, there's always been some kind of an influence, some kind of a convincingness tone towards you as a student that you need to go to college and get a certain degree so you'll be right on track to have the life, the fulfillment you truly need within your life with no stress whatsoever. It's already there and set up for you. Just follow these guidelines. It's gonna take a while. It is gonna have its challenges, but if you strictly, diligently follow this, it will in fact set up the fulfillment you need within your life. And I know it takes a lot of people to realize what's being said to them at that moment with that same statement, because you have to kind of think of a similar answer to a different question that correlates with the same type of rhetoric being thrown at you from what I just said. And that question basically is say if you're in the room with someone and it's a closed off room, the door's shut or something like that, and you have to stay there for a period of time and they just keep farting. Do you enjoy that smell? And just like, well, I need to go through this. I have to just endure this because the payoff's just gonna be so great if I just stay here long enough and enjoy the comfort and live with it. Fuck that. There's such an echo in this room. I'm not filming at my normal spot. I'm in a very spacey, wide open, dry, wally house right now. Now me expressing this correlates into something that is quite apparent with a man's life. And that a man's life, the life that he lives, fulfills out to the fulfillment he needs. It's literally a smooth path, ready for him at his waking arch to travel down, to fulfill down, to live down. It's there for him. It is completely directed at him at any time he is willing enough. And what I mean by it is always there, willing enough for him to endeavor on, because it is. Because you are the only thing here from the start of you. You've already came up with what needs to happen within your life, and you are always willing enough and ready to direct yourself towards it. Nothing else is, and you should not let anything else do that for you. And it's just so simple to get into this concept. It begins obviously with your mindset. And with a man, I would say, and I know it because my own experience as being a man and just literally, just noticing it on a daily constant basis. Men think simply. We are simply minded. And by simply minded, I mean we are led from our logical perspectives first with thinking about something, engaging with anything within our lives, and let the emotions follow behind it. Experiencing an emotion after a logical perspective. It's as simple as it gets. You do something, you do it the whole entire way, the way it's supposed to be done, and then you stop and think, well, hey, how did that make me feel? Do I like it or do I not like it? But obviously weighing out the pros and cons of it all might take some time for you to ultimately make a complete decision of what you need to get done. But as that all goes on, you are being steered. You are being steered towards that smooth path within your life that is directing you to that fulfillment. But obviously hard work within life is unavoidable. It's inevitable to happen. You're going to have to work very hard for whatever you do within your life, for the achievement you can see yourself needing and having within it. But that does not entail you need to have a negative output from your own self, negative mindset, just drudging through it like a complete gray-headed bot, and then one day I'll be happy. That's just not how life should be lived. What I'm saying is, what if you make the decision to go to law school and become a lawyer and you just hate it completely throughout the entire thing? but you know the payoff is going to be quite better than some other routes. But even when you get into your career outside of school, you hate it so much, even though you're making the figures you want, even though you have the life all around you want, you are just feeling something missing from you that just does not feel right, that does not make you enjoy what is going on. What if all of a sudden you kind of align to like a construction worker you see off on the street, and say, what if you took that route? What if you got good at construction, then all of a sudden you buy your own truck, you start doing jobs and contracting yourself out there on your own and building a business for yourself, and you feel a lot more fulfilled, enjoyed within life, more you within life than that other route you have taken. But you've been told by every walking thing of life since you've walked into this life that being a lawyer is what you need to do. If you don't become that, if you don't go that certain route, your life is not going to be great. Again, with talking points and rhetoric from whoever like that towards you, fuck that. Stop letting your emotional strings being pulled and cut those ties and logically see what is going on through your perspective. Logically go through actions that you are being told that will help you out more in life and see if it is for you. See if it is a nice fit for you. And let the emotions follow from it. What are you feeling from these actions, from what everyone is just talking such big game about that is just going to set you up completely? What are you feeling after you've already done that? Is it really what's it cracked up to be, what everyone's talking about? Or is it just not you and you need to be pulled into some other direction that makes you feel like you? Because it's there. That answer is always there with you. Yourself is always ready to direct you into that direction. And don't ever think it's not. When I first got into making content like this, and after I wrote the book I wrote that I'm working on editing and going to soon market out there, I put myself out as a life coach. I want to be a life coach. I want to coach personal development for men and label myself as a life coach author. I've watched so many people do it. I've talked to people that do it for a living as well. And I thought for a couple of years now I was pretty much hooked on being labeled as that. But I'm just not feeling it. I don't see myself as really a life coach. I see myself as a guy who puts out content under a brand name that he came up with for advice. Advice in a certain niche that I have struggled with my entire life. That I have figured out answers to help with this certain issue within my life. And I don't need to label myself as a life coach. I don't need to proc myself up and put myself out there as this certain label because it aligns with it so well, and having an arching fear that I'm not thinking of but is apparent that I'm going to be judged as someone just spitting out words and doesn't really stand for anything legitimate with no legitimacy. It doesn't matter, and it feels right to drop that label. I want to give advice. I want to market the advice. I want to market this brand. I want to make it about the sole purpose of it all, this niche. Personal development for men, and solely catering this content for serving men with this knowledge about it. You know, another big thing I can bring up with this too is really take your time with this. When you think logic, it takes time to develop logic on a subject matter differently with everyone else. But that's the same thing in common with everyone, is it takes time. So take your time. Evaluate everything that's going on. And really start to take those actions and pay attention to the emotions that follow. Is it for you? Is it not for you? Because again, that smooth path is already ready for you to travel on. And yourself is already waiting to direct you directly down that legitimate path.